welcome to Tiny Game Chronicles episode 43. My name is Marcus, and here with my good friend Michael, every other week we discuss games that are quick plays, but epic journeys. It is great to see you today, Michael. It's a weekend. How are you doing, my friend?
I am well. I had my birthday breakfast because my birthday was on Monday.
That's right. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the family took me out. We had a great birthday breakfast. And then I got the one or other small gift. So I don't know. I'm happy like a pig in Palestine. I'll leave it at that.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're not here just with Michael today. People on the YouTube watching on YouTube will see that we've got a third person with us. We've finally got him on the show. Ron, my brother from another mothership. Ron, aka SavoyPrime. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here with you fellas.
Yeah, I mean, we've been basically since we started the show, we've been like, Ron, you're going to get on the show. We've probably got a few games in mind. This was one that we had that we kind of had reserved for you to guest on with us. So
I'm glad to make it for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really chuffed, Ron. It's good that finally, I think this is the first time that you're on our show.
It is.
But I know for a fact it won't be the last time.
It's going to happen again. It's going to be happening again. We got a few games we've been talking about. It'll be another one for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, as I'm inclined to do, I do have a starter question for you guys.
Yes.
In the game that we're going to be talking about today, Duck Detective, the Secret Salami, the main character has an unusual addiction. He has a food addiction to bread. And I was curious, what are your guys' food addictions? Let's start with you, Michael.
Well, first of all, I love Thai. So Thai food, whenever there is Thai on the menu, right?
Yep.
I would gravitate towards it. So something that has to do with rice and kind of peanut sauce. I also love myself a koala stew, right? Which is great whenever I'm down in Australia. And so when I go for Chinese, I mean, Chinese could also be something I'm addicted to. I love duck, so I'll leave it at that.
Oh, wow.
So.
Okay. Right. That's aggressive. Okay.
Nice.
How about you, Ron?
Well,
gumbo, man. It could be any season, any day of the week. If it's gumbo, I'm in. My favorite kind is got to be shrimp, sausage, chicken. That's my favorite gumbo. Like I said, it could be any season. Some people only like to eat soup, when it's cold. When it comes to gumbo, I don't care how hot or cold it is. I'll eat.
There you go.
Yeah, love it.
There we go. What about you, Marcus?
So I almost said bread is actually kind of my addiction too. I love bread. It's
really?
a good baguette, like a French sourdough baguette. A really great bakery. Anyways, putting the bread aside though, I think that's a kind of a cop-out answer. Tacos. Tacos are my food addiction.
Okay.
I love tacos. I can eat tacos every day, and never get tired of it.
I never would have guessed that. Okay.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed that.
I do like some tacos too, though. But I'm a little bit surprised by that. That's your go-to favorite.
Go-to. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
All right.
Lindsay has to pull me back. I'm putting them on our menu every week, but she's like, not every week. But
yeah, never would have guessed it. Never would have guessed it.
Yeah,
Marcus, if you ever come and stay in Germany, just going back to your bread topic. My wife studied in France, and she's German, and she moved there for 6 months to study in an exchange semester. And she said the thing that she truly missed in her food was the German bread, because only white bread was available, right? So you have a lot of white bread in France, different types. But in Germany, white bread is kind of the minority. So we have darker kinds of bread, right? And I think that you would love it here because there are over 100 types of breads here in Germany. Yeah. So if bread is your poison, then living in Germany could be the realization of that.
Bread can be good, though. Absolutely. It just depends on what kind it is. My coworker made a sourdough roll, chocolate chips and cinnamon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Ah, cool. Bread can be amazing. Absolutely.
It can.
Definitely. I feel for our protagonist, Eugene McQuacklin. I really identified with him at times. Before we get into our game today, though, guys, I did want to mention our previous episode was for the game Darwin's Paradox, Michael. And,
Yes.
you know, the big thing about this game, it's like a Pixar movie. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was a great game, but it was a pretty good game. A lot of fun,
Absolutely.
a lot of humor, and excellent art style.
Absolutely. It stuck with me.
Okay.
As octopuses do.
I was waiting for it.
Wasn't sure where you were going with that. Okay.
I knew somebody was going to take it there.
Okay, guys, let's begin our discussion about Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. Currently, the game is on everything: PC, Xbox, Switch. It came to those platforms in May of 2024. It came to mobile in April of 2025, and finally PS5 in May 2025. So it's been on everything for basically a year. It was developed and published by Happy Broccoli Studio out of down the road from you, Michael, in Berlin. It's a German studio. In Duck Detective, you play as the aforementioned Eugene McQuacklin, a down-on-his-luck private eye detective who is hired by the Bear Bus Company to solve a case about a stolen lunch. And in doing so, he stumbles across a much larger conspiracy involving the Salami Bandit. The gameplay involves basically kind of walking around your environment, talking to employees at Bear Bus, gathering clues around the environment. As you collect evidence, words are added to like an inventory system, and you must use them to solve these fill-in-the-blank word puzzles. Each of these puzzles gets you closer to unraveling the mystery of the Salami Bandit. Generally, it had a pretty positive reception. It's currently sitting at a 79 on OpenCritic. Okay, guys, we started these discussions by asking ourselves 3 questions. What platform did you play it on? About how long did it take you to beat? And what are some high-level thoughts you have about the game? Let's start with our guest, Ron. Why don't you get us started here?
All right. I originally played it on Xbox around the time they first came out. Spent about 5 hours on that one. And then when it released on PlayStation, I played it back during my Christmas break. That one was only like a 2-hour run, but I did that just to get the platinum. I had played it before, so I already knew the puzzle solutions and all that. So, but I had a good time with the game overall. Like I said, it was solid. Just one thing. It was the only thing that kind of stood out where I was like I had to mark some points down for it.
Yeah, very good. We're gonna go into that. I suppose,
we're gonna get
I suspect. Yeah. Michael, what about you?
So I played it on PC and took me about 2.5 hours, maybe 2 hours, 40 minutes, right about there. And I think high level thoughts, what I really thought about this game, what I liked about it is the atmosphere it creates, specifically in this kind of detective noir feeling, right? And I'm a sucker, for I don't know, for that kind of setting, right? This kind of detective down and out on his luck, right? Kind of getting out of his necessary breadcrumbs, has a failed relationship, right, with another duck member. And I thought this was my favorite genre, a cozy game that was short, that did not overstay its welcome. And if I were to give it a separate title, I would maybe call this game not the Secret Salami, or not Duck Detective, the Secret Salami, but the Tragedy of the Working Duck Detective. Because it's actually quite a sad story if you just look at the life of the Duck Detective and the things that
true.
he wants to make right in his life. So a poignant story from my side. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, so I played it on my Steam Deck. It was funny. I was messaging Ron, and he mentioned it was on PlayStation. I didn't even know it was on PlayStation. I probably would have played it there. So I played it on my Steam Deck. Worked great on the Steam Deck. Took me, according to my Steam clock, 2.4 hours to beat.
Okay.
High level thoughts. This is not really my type of game. The puzzles are particularly I struggled with them. I would say it's not really my style of game. It kind of was a little reminiscent of like the puzzles in Karimaro that we've previously done, even a little bit like Phoenix Springs. I mentioned this to Michael. I was like, this is kind of like Phoenix Springs. And he's like, it's the opposite of Phoenix Springs. What are you talking about? And it is the opposite in terms of like tone and like themes and all of that. But the actual puzzles are actually it's not all that a distinct system. Like there are definitely some similarities there. So but yeah, we'll get into kind of my critiques, but also the things that I liked as we get into our deeper dive discussion in a moment here. Before we do that, though, I just wanted to give listeners a brief reminder about how we talk about games on Tiny Game Chronicles. We like to identify 3 things that we think stood out, good or bad, about a game, and do a deeper dive discussion about those things. And most times, we'll do it here. No spoilers. We're not really going to get too deep into the narrative. Maybe really a little bit about the story setup, but beyond that, not into the story. So if you haven't played Duck Detective: The Secret Salami just yet, you are safe to listen. Okay, guys, let's get into our deep dive discussion for Duck Detective. The first standout that we wanted to highlight was the art. It does have a pretty distinct art style. I mean, other games have done this sort of almost Paper Mario style, bright colors. Michael definitely, he's already mentioned it does give off that cozy aesthetic. But the art is a real, I would say, positive on this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to go, Ron, as a guest?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Once you see it, you kind of think to yourself that I couldn't see this game like any other way as far as the look of it. The paper cutout look of all the characters. It's just something about it. It just fits here. Like sometimes a game will copy the Paper Mario, look, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem to have any kind of like flash to it. It just kind of just seems to be there. But with this one, it seems like it really just like fits. And it's just the whole look, it just adds to that extra, like the charm of everything. So I love the look of it. You knock over a trash can, it just the way the trash can just falls over, the paper spills out. It's just everything about it. It's just everything just looks great. I love the look of the game. The look of the game is fantastic.
The characters are almost like stickers.
Yeah,
that's what really
much.
kind of
it's kind of like those
jumped
old
out at
books
me.
you had when you were in school, where you had to sit there and put certain things, certain places, and whatnot and stuff. It looks exactly like that.
Yeah,
it reminded me of those cards. I mean, you remember those cards that you kind of unfold, and it was almost like 3-dimensional. And I think this is the idea that it gives me, that these cutouts are 3-dimensional, and I like that they are in a form of a cartoon. I mean, the whole game is cartoonized, right? If that is a word. But and I think this is the biggest takeaway for me. And I really got this through more thinking about the game once I finished it. Is my favorite sport, if I go into a coffee shop and have 20 minutes to myself, drink a cup of coffee, is to observe people. And I think that having these card out characters, as the game starts, you go into an office, someone has called you, your first task, just a little mini spoiler, is to actually find out who hired you, right? And so you go and meet various of these characters working in this office, and very much like the main character, there are cutouts, and you get presented a very clear picture of what this character is about. And I really think that this game, and what this game is trying to build up, is that we judge very quickly based on this character cutout that we see, that we think we know everything about them, right? So we're very even 2-dimensional in our thinking when we see this cutout, and we think, okay, so bloodshot eyes, wears glasses, must spend a lot of time, I don't know, reading on the PC, perhaps hardworking, etc. Right? So the more time we spend with these artful characters, the more I think we realize that the initial impression that we had, there's way much more to those cutout characters than those first impressions that we sense when we actually see this colorful picture. And I think that is this is what the game is trying to communicate throughout the whole gaming loop, that there is way more three-dimensional detail beyond this two-dimensional figure, right? So that is my takeaway, Marcus.
I do like that observation. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. You almost get a little bit more of the 3D, not just from the narrative or whatever, but when you're actually like examining clues, because sometimes you're examining people and you almost, you're like the gameplay mechanic is like putting a magnifying glass over an individual to kind of like identify clues on the person, right? And sometimes you get more of these details of the character through examining, and not just evidence, but like insight into their history or who they are,
their history,
character, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. One question I wanted to pose to you guys is like, it's a very bright game, right? It's a very but the themes are, how would I put this? The themes are, the story is very light overall, I would say, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of presented a little bit, and we'll probably touch on this a bit in the humor, is more like that detective noir sort of style. And I was wondering if you guys think this game could have worked as well. And the game that I'm thinking that I haven't played, but I know Ron has, is like a Chicken Police, kind of like that black and white, kind of dark kind of like, would that have been appropriate for this game? Or do you think that the style that they chose is more effective, kind of that more cozier presentation, at least on the surface?
I think personally that it works better in the style as in Chicken Police. I absolutely love, but that game is dark detective noir for sure. Like, it has its humor, but that story, the story that's there is a bit dark. I mean, so they lean a bit more into the gritty side of the detective work than
my game.
Yeah, well, that sounds right up Michael's alley. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gritty. I love it. I love that aspect of it. And I'm glad that when I read the reviews for that, I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. But I'm not sure that Dark Detective would work out that way. Like, he has his moments where Michael touched on earlier, where his past is very realistic. Divorce, going through things, trying to get back on his feet. So that part of it, that's about as dark as it will get with Duck Detective. But yeah, Chicken Police is, that's far grittier.
It's more satirical. I guess Duck Detective is more satirical.
So I mean, it's good to have something lighthearted like that. But I think Chicken Police would definitely be up Michael's alley, because I love that game.
Yeah. I haven't played it, so
you should play it, man.
One for the back.
I thought it was great.
Okay.
I thought it was great.
Okay, I guess we can move on to standout item number 2. And for this, we wanted to touch on, we've already kind of like hinted at it. We wanted to talk about the humor of Duck Detective, the Secret Salami. There is a lot of humor. Again, we're talking about this kind of satirical take of this detective noir sort of thing. And one thing I think, like, maybe we can start our discussion here, like the voice acting, I think really adds to the humor of this game. Michael, do you want to get us started on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of focus on voice performance per se. It's almost like I'm visiting a theater, if that kind of makes sense, and kind of, looking on the stage. So it's almost like the voices are over dramatized. So this could be a great, audiobook. That kind of makes sense. Noir audiobook. So I kind of felt that the voice work was very strong, and kind of keeps the gaming loop light. We're going to go into the gaming loop just now, right? But we know that there are some high and low points when it comes to the gaming look, and I think that the humor that we have here, which is obviously a, in brackets, ridiculous story, that we have with our main protagonist, right? So it's really melodramatic, if that makes sense. And I mean, our main character does not really have the respect, right? He's kind of, laughed at a little bit. But I think that the saving grace here also when it comes to the humor that it's funny, but it's not empty, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of wrapping around that sad character that we have. And so it does not, although everything is light, it does not make the game feel meaningless. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Ron, what about you?
Well, to lean to what you said about that, how that humor, he even takes shots at himself. You know, he'll make a comment about himself, and you're just kind of just like, well damn. It's like, okay, but like you said, I think that just encompasses what you were talking about earlier, where the humor's there, but you still have this very grounded approach to Eugene.
Absolutely.
And like you said, like as soon as you enter that bus dispatch, you know, the giraffe Sophie is the very first character you run into, and automatically you just like, yeah, this guy gets no respect from anybody. So it kind of sets the tone like throughout the whole thing, because
exactly.
after a while it's just like every character he runs into, who are you and why are you here?
Yeah, he's like running around this bus station kind of office and trying to like who called me? Nobody's just fessing up to like.
He got to find out who called him, and he's like, nobody knows why he's here. Only one person recognizes this guy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny.
But it's like you said, the humor would have never worked without the voice acting. It's one of those things where sometimes humor can be conveyed well through just text. But this is a game where I think that the voice acting helped pay off for the humor. And tell you the truth, every character actually has good voice work. There's nobody that really, I said to myself that, wow, that's a horrible voice or anything like that. So that really helps like push that humor forward. And then of course Eugene being the protagonist, his voice is the one that you hear more than anybody else's. And like I said, him taking shots at himself, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's like, okay, that's a little bit heavy, you know, but it fits for the whole game. But yeah, the humor just really, the whole works with the charm, but yeah, the voice work is what really helps push that humor forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, and his inner monologue, right? I think that's the saving grace of this game is the inner monologue, because it always, I don't know, you kind of, it helps you embody the main character much easier.
It does.
Right?
And he's always perfect timing. Like whatever moment's going on, or if he goes into a different section, you know, he'll kind of say something. So it's always perfect timing for that.
Absolutely.
Well, and I would just say, like we mentioned already, but just the satire in general is kind of a big part of the humor of this game. Like without getting into the details of the different mysteries that he's unraveling, but like he's called to this bus station office to solve the case of a missing lunch, stolen
sandwich.
Like that kind of like gives the listener who hasn't played this like the idea of what we're talking about here. Like this is, and you know, once he finds kind of, this leads him down a path that kind of unravels.
That's very light work on that. Down a path is saying a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I would say that some of the other characters are pretty good too. I really liked the Freddy character, who I have a feeling, Ronnie, you play the sequel. You play the sequel. I'm assuming he's in the sequel.
Yeah, Freddy's he's there.
Yeah. So he's really good.
I thought Laura was great too. The cat. That was always on the phone. Yeah,
brilliant.
That's right.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
she was the only one that was working in the office.
yeah.
Everybody else is busy messing around.
I would leave it at that. No? And scheming. Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's move on to standout item number 3. And I think this is probably going to be a bit of a discussion here. This is where my issue is. The duck deduction system. So this is really that gameplay loop that you're experiencing within the game. So you are finding clues. I mentioned a little bit in the intro here. You're finding clues. You're adding words to an inventory of clues that you have, and then using these to solve these kind of like mini cases to get you to an ultimate case. So maybe I'll start and talk a little bit about like why I just suck at this. I really do. I end up feeling like I'm going through this thing and like I've got an inventory, and I think what they could have maybe done is like once you got one right, like lock it in. I would have preferred like a lock it in, because like oftentimes I was like, I'm pretty sure I know what 3 of the 4 missing blanks are, but then I'm like, just I don't know what the last one is, and then I'm just like mixing and matching, and I'm just like at the end, I'm for some of these puzzles, I'm like, I have no idea, and I ended up having to look up a couple. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm too frustrated. I can't. I don't know what I'm supposed to do because it was
Mm.
some of these puzzles would be like literally like blank blank, the blank blank.
Yeah,
Two
toward the end,
blank.
it got out of
Yeah,
control.
I was like, what the heck?
Because there was two for sure that I remember I had to look up because I was like, I don't know what else to choose. I was like, you
Exactly.
toss so many words at it, and you're just like, and the hint system only tells you like 3 or
Yeah.
4 or 4 or 5. And I'm like, you're
That's
not
right.
helping me.
So
I
they
have
would
20
say that.
words to choose from. Like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, it would say how many you've got right, but only up to
Yeah.
like 2 or less. So they would
I'm
never
with
tell you
If
if you've only
locked
got
in
one.
which one was correct, that would have really helped because, yeah, sometimes some of those ones toward the end is just like, there were so many things that sounded right, and you put it in there, you read it back to yourself, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this sounds good. And then the system's sitting there saying 4 or 5 is out of this. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Well, I know that this is more Michael's style of game, so I'm curious how you fared with these puzzles. I know that like you weren't necessarily the biggest fan of the system, but like, did the puzzles stump you, like they did me?
Yeah, Marcus, you're not alone.
Okay.
There is a little story that I just want to iterate because it's kind of a real life experience. When I arrived in Germany, having left South Africa, I kind of needed to reinvent myself a little bit because I could not continue the career I had in South Africa in Europe just because of circumstances, etc. So I earned my bread and butter in my independence by teaching English to East Germans, right, who had Russian at school, and obviously when the wall fell, had no English language skills. And so I needed to do placement tests. And so I designed these placement tests very much like the game loop that we have with Duck Detective, right? Which is fill in the missing word, 75 sentences. And you can see that, many people did not have that they needed to fill in a gap. So obviously this spoke to me, right? Because the core pattern of this gaming loop is you need to explore, you need to notice, which is then collect a bunch of words, right? Which is nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc. Then fill in the blanks, and if you filled in the blanks correctly, the story moves forward, right? And as Ron just mentioned, if it's not right, you will just get a notice like 1 is wrong, I don't know, 3 is wrong or 3 are incorrect, but you don't know which ones, right?
They never say. They never say 1 is wrong. They say 2 or less is wrong.
That's true.
That's the best you get.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Which makes it more difficult.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. So for me, it very much was kind of me remembering. Okay, gosh, this sounds very much like my life experience that I had. And I'm going to really put it to twofold, right? There are times where, when you really paid attention, I think there are different degrees of difficulties of putting those sentences together. I thought at the beginning it was way easier, but as the story progressed, I kind of felt there was an artificial increase in difficulty, right? Because more words were missing, there were more lines. And all of a sudden, I felt back like I was in grammar school and I was trying to complete this to please my teacher, right? Very much like what my experience was. And these moments were not enjoyable. We spoke about the voice work. We spoke about the humor. They definitely keep those moments light, but I definitely felt irritated. And like you, Marcus, I think even for 3 or 4, I needed to go online to kind of see what is it that they actually want here. And I did pay attention. It's just that was my experience. Ron, how was it for you, if you remember?
Yeah, it was pretty much the same. I looked back at my the backlog review I did for when I played the Xbox version, and I brought up the thing about the deduction system. In the beginning, like you had brought up, I guess
It's
it was
okay.
the right amount of words, so like you said, it kind of kept it simple. But then it started getting, like you said, deeper. It went into the case, and it was more blanks to fill in. Is where it kind of started getting, like, okay, and you would put the words in, it would make sense to you, but the hint system was telling you, like, you're off, and you're like, well, okay, and then because it doesn't lock in, it doesn't tell you what exactly which word is the wrong one. You're up there like, okay, this makes sense. You click it, you throw a whole bunch of words back in there. Once again, you're still off. Usually the same hint will tell you again, you're 4 or 5 or whatever. And you're like, what in the world? And apparently it was two for sure that I remember I had to look up because I was like, I don't know what else to do with this. And then of course you see the solution and then you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that was really the only part of the game that I had a gripe about. And I feel that could have definitely been better, where at least lock in for me, like, what is the correct one? So I won't be spending my time redoing everything.
Well, the idea that I have here is I'm totally okay, but because I'm totally okay with the gaps, but because all characters were up for grabs, I wasn't exactly sure, and I think this was the big frustration, what character are we focusing on here?
Yeah.
Right? Because they could have been, and for me, to make it a little bit easier, if they would have just locked in the right character, then I could have, deduced it much easier with regards to what they want.
Yeah.
And fill in the rest. But because all the characters were variable, I think that just made it even harder. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and depending on what the particular puzzle was at that time, and not to spoil anything, but every character's not on the up and up in this bus dispatch.
100%.
Yeah. So oftentimes a lot of the puzzles, like you brought up, you could throw in any character into that to match whatever was going on. So that made it more difficult. Like, okay, well,
100%.
there's a lot of people with dirty hands here. Like, what yeah. So yeah, that part definitely.
I think one of the things that often trips me up a little bit with this style of puzzle is that I'm not paying attention enough to the information that they give me to be able to solve the puzzle. So I get to the puzzle and I'm like, I don't know what the answer is, and I'm just trying a bunch of all the permutations that I can. Was it an issue? Because I felt like I was trying to pay attention to the story as when you're interacting with the characters and you're trying to gather information, and I really was. But there were definitely bits and pieces that I was missing. Like I wasn't getting. And so when I got to the puzzle, I was like, I don't know what the answer to this. Has somebody revealed this information to me and I just haven't retained it? Or is it a little too vague in the information that they are presenting to the player? And so I was curious from both of you guys' perspectives. Did you feel like you were given the right information and that you'd had all the information to be able to solve the puzzle, or was it just a matter of the issue that you kind of like not knowing what they were looking for because of the way the blanks were kind of like scattered throughout the sentence?
Yeah, personally for me, I feel that they sometimes sit there and gave you too much information between the puzzles. So there's several different things going on. So by the time you get to a puzzle, it's like I got to remember like okay, what was going on in the kitchen earlier to whatever. Now we're in, the boss's office and we're doing something else. And it's like, okay, this puzzle might be calling back to that moment. Like,
I always think it would have worked really well to have almost like an inventory of your conversations or interactions that I could be able to pull back
that would
and just
beautiful.
Scroll through.
Yeah.
Because, there wasn't an easy way to pull back. I'm not doing that, Michael.
I wasn't about to change the blueprint, so I didn't want to do that.
I'm not doing that.
I'm teasing. It's not the type of game.
I didn't want to do that, but oftentimes you would find yourself saying, well, maybe I should have, because there would be so many conversations that would take place. And then plus you're moving around the dispatch, so you're checking and clicking on everything. So you're getting a lot of different things. And your brain is remembering this stuff. It's just that the puzzles come up at a time when, okay, I've ran into 50 other things that are going on in this office, and all of them are suspect. So it can throw you off a bit.
Yeah,
and
just like at any given time,
I don't know.
Yeah, because at any given time, you're probably working on 2 or 3 different mysteries
Yeah.
to solve, and kind of like these puzzles to do. So did either of you guys solve any puzzles without having collected all of the information? Because I always had to make sure that I had every like word, because they tell you how many words you
I
need.
want to say, I think I did everything. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
puzzles, I think. Yeah.
Because I tried solving a few without having everything, and I was never able to get it. Where I was like, okay, I'll just I guess I might have to find some more clues and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, the same for me. As soon as I got all the words that I needed, I kind of realized, okay, in order for me to move the story on, and because you couldn't go anywhere else, right? Once you had collected everything, so there weren't any visual cues how to continue. But I think I just want to remind our audience that, even though we said that the detective Eugene was called to solve a case of a missing sandwich, the game is not, or the mystery is not just about the sandwich.
Yeah,
right.
There's more to it than that.
There is way more to this, and I think that's what makes exactly. That's what makes this this deduction system maybe also a little bit tedious, to a certain extent, because it's not just one story, right, behind what you think is the stolen sandwich. There are actually 2 or 3 things happening in the background. So, and I think to keep in mind all those different story strains, story arches that are there. And I'm not exactly sure, guys. I mean, at the end of the game, when we try and solve it, I think that we did not, catch all the people that are involved in various machinations, right? So I kind of say, well, what about these people? Why are we not addressing them?
You handled like the main mystery, but then there's some other crimes going on here.
Exactly.
I need to arrest them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. I was thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. Like, it's not just these guys. It's more to it than that. Because there was one in particular, I was just like, I need to arrest you.
Exactly. I was crying justice.
Crime.
Exactly. Where's the justice? Anyway.
Oh, man.
Marcus.
Okay, guys, I think that's it for our standouts. We did get a couple of community standouts, so I'm just going to go through those as well. So Fulia, our good friend of the show, Fulia, had written in and said that Duck Detective is one of my favorite tiny games. I had so much fun playing this game. For me, the standouts are mostly around the characters. The bread-addicted detective, although very serious about his job, has some of the silliest things to say. The team at the bus company are also very entertaining. I love that it's fully voice acted. It really gives these characters an extra layer to them, hearing their voices. Also, the fact that the characters are in a Paper Mario style 2D cartoon world is clever and works really well for the game. Touched on a lot of that. I think we would largely agree with that.
Point we talked about. These are all the high marks of the game for sure.
Yeah. And then we also had another friend of the show, Cole, aka the Good Sir, had written in and said, absolutely incredible game, one of my favorite indies ever, which is quite high praise. I'm not sure
that's a lot coming from Cole.
Yeah, no kidding. Cole knows his indies, so
he's in the salami business, I'm sure.
So thank you both, Fulia and the Good Sir, for sharing your standouts or your thoughts about our game. If you, listener, want to share your standouts, Michael will do a call out in our Discord. So you just have to join the Discord, and we would be happy to read your standouts for the game that we're playing on the show. Okay, we end these things by asking ourselves, do we recommend the game? And if so, to whom? Michael, why don't you get us started?
So I would definitely give it a thumbs up, right? Because I've basically looked or thought of 3 groups of people that might enjoy this game. So if you are a story-curious mystery fan, you love short stories, short-driven mysteries, and you care about characters more than the challenge per se, then this is definitely for you. If you are, like me, a cozy, low-friction gamer, then...
That's like you, yes.
So fitting.
Yeah.
Then this is definitely a game that you can finish after work. It's definitely very, very short and an ideal palate cleanser, as we say. Or if you are like me as well, you want to think a little bit more about games, not just play them. I think that this game has a lot to say about how we judge characters, how we maybe simplify our kind of first impressions about people. And I think that this game puts that into question with regards to how curious are we to look beyond our first impressions. No, that kind of makes sense. So thumbs up for me. I definitely recommend it.
Right. I'm definitely recommend the game. To me, it's the perfect palate cleanser for any game where you spent 50 plus, or if you're playing a Japanese RPG, 100 plus hours on. It is the perfect game to play in between the big games that you play. And as we've talked about throughout the show, don't let the deductions and our opinions of that kind of like lower people's interest in that. There is so much more to the game than just that. The characters, especially, they're all great. The voice work, the humor, and the mystery stuff. Because like I said, the mystery stuff is interesting. Definitely recommend for anybody who just enjoys a little bit of mystery or just needs something like a bit slower pace. If they play a lot of action games and stuff like that, it is the perfect palate cleanser. And like I said, the games outside of that deduction system are really great games. They're really great games.
Yeah, for me, I would probably give this a little bit more qualified recommendation. I don't think this is a bad game. It's just not a game for me. The gameplay loop, it's that I don't think we've mentioned it to this point, but it's very, reminiscent of those old point and click adventure style puzzles where you're collecting an inventory. It's not things, it's just words, and you've got to use those words. I suck at those. So if you are like me and suck at that stuff too, you might be a little frustrated. One thing that we have touched on a little bit is that this game is quite short. Like you're talking like 2.5 hours, really. So it doesn't overstay its welcome. I think the brevity of this game is a real strength. Like this is a great type of palate cleansers type of game. Like you can play. I played through it in one night, sitting on the couch. Had the baseball game on, going through, on my Steam Deck. And, from that perspective, it's quite good. But recognize if you really get frustrated with those point and click kind of like using your inventory style puzzles, that's what this is. That's largely what this is. So it might.
I want to throw in real quick, not the escape, not the escape, from Monkey Island kind of.
Not quite that level, but it's level. The same idea though, right?
But it is.
Yeah, and
I hate those.
I know.
I am horrible at those.
Yeah, and funnily enough, the most recent Monkey Island has a really good hint system, and it kind of like reduces a lot of the friction. But that's for another discussion.
Into it then, because the old school one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the type of that, at least that's what it reminded me of, anyways. Okay. And that's not really my thing, as we've kind of learned through a few of the other games we've played, in the past on Tiny Game Chronicles. So, but if like this is some glowing recommendations from a few of our community members, and I think you guys probably enjoyed the game more than I did. So it definitely has its audience, and if anything of those aspects sound appealing, I think that this is a pretty easy recommend for that audience. So, okay, guys, I think that's it for episode 43. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we sign off here. Of course, we would really appreciate it if you shared, liked, subscribed, and left us a 5-star review wherever you happen to be listening. Aside from that, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Tiny Game Chronicles. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. You can also find me or follow me on the 2 other podcasts that I do. First, Fantasy Critic, or Hype Factor, a Fantasy Critic podcast. That's a monthly show that I do with my good friend, John 32. And the show that I'm on with Ron, Brothers from Another Mothership. Maybe Ron, you should be pitching this one. Why don't you go, where can people follow you? And tell us a little bit about BFAM.
Okay, so as Marcus brought up, we work on that together with our friends Quag and Nagachaka, who is also another Matt. And pretty much we just talk about the games that we're playing at the time, depending on sometimes news, sometimes topics. Arguments probably will happen.
Yes.
But it's really just pretty much 4 good friends having a talk about games. then you can also see all of us together on our Worlds Collide, which is our Game of the Year episode, along with Michael and our friend John 32. You prepared for that in a couple of months from now. We're looking forward to that one. And then if you're looking just to see my thoughts on things, you can find me on Blue Sky, SavoyPrime, and then, of course, on Gaming Wise, SavoyPrime on PlayStation, Steam, and then backlogged, of course, True Trophies, PSN profiles.
And I just want to recommend, Ron, you do so much work on the Discord. The BFAM Discord is really, really excellent because that's the place now where I get my video game news. Right, because I think that you do, I don't know, it feels like you're like 75 posts per day.
Yeah.
On the various channels. Right?
Yeah.
It gets busy sometimes. I should be working sometimes.
It's hard to keep up, yeah.
So I was thinking of actually getting a 2D model from you and putting it here somewhere, like in Duck Detective, right? So with bloodshot eyes. No, but it's really, really worthwhile going on the Discord, the BFAM Discord, because you guys have excellent content. Yeah, and thanks for that, Ron. I know that you are.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
The big force behind that. So
I appreciate it.
And where can people find you, Michael?
Yeah, there we go. You can find me also on Blue Sky under Drellesh, DRELLESH, as well as on our Tiny Game Discord. So the link will be in the show notes. Obviously, a little bit smaller than what we have at BFAM, with the main focus being on your smaller games, the tiny games, up to 5 hours. Yeah, but I'm also very excited because we have a little healthy community, and I love the discourse that we have there. So you're welcome just to look up the link and then join us on our Discord and interact with both Marcus and I.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also follow us on YouTube. We post largely unedited episodes over there. We do at least one short most of the time per episode. So if you want to see our handsome faces, see Ron's handsome face for this episode, go check us out on YouTube. And then we're also writing articles on So Many Games, Michael. So we've been doing one article a month. I think we'll probably be having another one out soonish.
Yeah, we will.
And yes, so check us out there, somanygames.co.uk.
All right.
So the last thing we need to do, guys, is introduce our next game.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this game was developed by Beethoven and Dinosaur, published by a little indie publisher by the name of Annapurna Interactive.
Yeah. It's not called Duct Tape.
It's not called Duct Tape. This game... this game on their last night together, three friends embark on one final adventure. You play through memories set to the soundtrack of a generation. And if it wasn't obvious enough, Michael, the name of that game is
Mixtape.
Mixtape.
All right.
Yeah. So this might be one of the biggest, at least certainly as of recording here, there's been a lot of discourse about Mixtape. Both Michael and I have already played it. I know, Ron, you have not yet, but I know that it's on your radar. You're gonna maybe before the show, and you can share some standouts with us.
Okay,
read them out. Yeah. Right. So he's not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. Just to do a standout, I might do that. It's a short game, so
it is a short game. It's not to spoil our thoughts. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time.
Hopefully, answer the question if Mixtape is a video game.
Do we want to have that conversation, Michael?
That conversation might have to come up now.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I guess that's everything for today. I just will end things by saying thank you for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks with Mixtape.
Bye, everyone.
Adios, friends.
Bye.